All right, so we're starting off this module and the campaigns in this series with really where it all began. I mean, if you're here right now, it's because you've likely have already been given, have already received, and hopefully have already implemented the Gain Logic Fear campaign. And so this particular video should come as old hat to you, but I did want to make sure that we go over it again just so that you have it here, because out of all of the engagement series campaigns that we have, really out of all the campaigns we have, period, I think this one is probably the most flexible. It works great as an engagement series for people who opt in for the lead magnet but don't buy that initial offer, or people who maybe buy that initial offer but they don't ascend and take you on your core offer or an upsell. So it works great as both an engagement series and an ascension series type process because it taps into those three core motivators of human beings, right? People do things for personal gain, people do things for logical reasons, and people do things out of fear. So gain, logic, fear, the three reasons people take action, that's the core structure of this particular campaign. So it works great as an opening series. So when we're talking about campaign stacking, I love when somebody initially opts in of starting off with a gain, logic, fear campaign. It's really common for us to come right out of the gate and go with a gain, logic, fear campaign. The only time that'll change is if it's a really high ticket product, something that's fairly expensive, and we need more nurturing, we need more content. So in the case if we're going into a mini class launch or a webinar series, then we're probably not going to start the engagement series with a gain, logic, fear campaign. Instead, we may put it after the mini class launch. We might stack it on the back of a mini class launch or stack it on the back of a webinar show up series, where we've kind of done all that pre-indoctrination, all that education, and now they just need to make a decision. But certainly for your lower ticket offers, this is great. And sometimes it's all you need. So going back through the Gain, Logic, Fear campaign and kind of breaking everything down, email number 1, which should be sent out the day after they opt in, is all about gain. So it reinforces the actions that they've already taken. So yesterday you requested whatever the lead magnet is, right? What is the thing that they requested? And, you're trying to encourage consumption, right? That's what we're trying to do. They're saying, more importantly, I want to make sure you saw this right here. Now, we talked in this module about the thank you page and what was their last image, their last mental image with you. So what was on that particular thank you page? If you made an immediate offer on the thank you page, which I recommended that you do, right? And I gave you a couple of different formats, and if that concept is new to you, then you need to scroll up and you need to watch the video on that I shot on the thank you page explaining all that. But if you got that, and you did make an offer on the thank you page, then it's perfectly appropriate right here to link to that sales page. So you can see here I say link to Tripwire sales page. Tripwire is just a phrase that we use internally to describe an initial front-end offer, an initial low-ticket offer, which is common. That's typically what you would put on the back of, if you're going to make that immediate offer after somebody opts in, it needs to be a lower ticket offer. So when you see Tripwire, think low ticket offer, think initial front end offer, right? That's what Tripwire means. So it's perfectly appropriate in the context of this engagement series to go ahead and say, look, go buy this thing, because they've already seen it. You've already made them an offer. This is a follow-up. This should be nothing new to them. It's not like, as you're going to see with, a mini class launch and some of the other series that really drag things out and that are a lot more subtle, because in some of those cases they maybe haven't been made an immediate offer. Maybe somebody opted in for a 3-part video series, and on the thank you page after they opted in was video number 2, or video number 1. They haven't seen that offer yet. So you're not going to use this unless they've already seen the offer that you're trying to sell them. That makes sense? Okay, good. So going into this next paragraph, if you're really serious about whatever the topic or the known desired end result is, then this is the ideal first step. So it's that commitment and consistency. We're reinforcing the fact that you've already started down a path. You should finish that path, because that's, the Zeigarnik effect or whatever it's called. That's the thing that exists in human beings where once we start something, we have to finish it, right? It's the same thing where if you go into a crowd of people and you say, Were you tempted there to go, yeah, I bet you were. We have to finish things once we've started. It's in us. It's part of what makes us human. So we're continually encouraging and reinforcing that, right? So that's, if you're really serious, and this is the ideal first step. Not only does it work at only insert price, it's the tiniest investment you can make and still have a realistic expectation of results. So again, the price is here, and we're front-ending the price. We're being very open about the price because the assumption with this series is that it's low, right? The assumption with the Gain, Logic, Fear series is that you're using it on the back of a fairly low ticket offer. That's why we're willing to highlight the price. If you're using the Gain, Logic, Fear in an Ascension series, then you may ditch this particular paragraph if it's not a tiny investment. All right, but for now, given that it's in an engagement series, that it probably is a front-end offer, one of those tripwire offers, then you'd leave it there. All right, so hinting at scarcity here, this price won't be available much longer, so grab your copy now while it's still fresh in your mind, but you're not hitting scarcity really hard. Because again, this one is all about gain. It's all about saying, look, you downloaded this thing because you said that you were serious about this end result, so you might as well take the first step, which is to buy this thing, especially since it's such a low price, right? So it's gain, 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 gain. Now, when we get into logic, that's when we're going back and we're really hitting a lot harder. Hey, I'm surprised you haven't taken me up on this. You took this earlier action. So we're kind of, poking them a little bit and saying, you took this earlier action. It's perfectly logical that the next step would be that you would, purchase this product. So why haven't you done it yet? What's going on, right? So you're appealing to that logical person who's like, yeah, I guess I did go ahead and take that first step. It does make sense that I would finish what I started. Now, this is not going to be effective for everyone. Most people buy through either personal gain or through fear, with fear being the biggest. So logic, this one is going to capture the fewest number of people. It's still extraordinarily effective. You should still use it, but it's not going to be as effective as the other ones. That's why you can see this one isn't as long. It's very matter of fact. It's very to the point. All right, so that's how that one is structured. Now, when we get into email number 3, which is fear, this is all about deploying some aspect of scarcity, right? So last chance, bad news, you're about to miss out. These are all fear-based things. Nobody wants a last chance. Nobody wants bad news. Nobody wants to miss out on something, right? Now, there's 2 different types of emails here. One that is pure scarcity and one that it really isn't any scarcity, and it's more what we call the takeaway, which there's going to be an additional campaign, additional video just focused on this concept of, the takeaway. I'm done talking to you about this, is kind of the way that it's structured. But in fear, it's all about you need to take action, you need to get off the fence, or you're going to miss out. It's as simple as that. You need to take action, you need to get off the fence, or you're going to miss out. We're no longer going back and trying to appeal to their logical side, right? We're reminding them of the benefit, but it's in the PS. It's an afterthought. We're no longer going back and trying to make the logical argument of you already took this earlier step of downloading this report, so you might as well finish what you started. We're done with that, right? We're going pure fear-based stuff here. Buy this now, take action now, or you will miss out, right? It's as simple as that. So that's the gain, logic, and fear campaign. I breezed through it really quickly because, or at least as quickly kind of as I could, because it's something that we've already talked about a fair bit. But if you want to know more about this and you didn't watch the second video, the second free video that went out in the free training, the mini class that got you into the machine coaching program, then I recommend that you go back to module 1 where your homework, it's back to the introductory module where your homework was really to go back and rewatch those first 3 free videos that I gave you. Go back and watch video number 2, because in video number 2, in addition to telling kind of some of my story, which you can feel free to skip if you like, I really broke down the gain, logic, fear campaign in a little bit greater depth. But since I know you've probably heard it, I didn't want to dwell on it here. Just remember, this particular campaign works best when it is put on the back of a lower dollar offer. Okay? So this doesn't work as great if you're trying to sell a $2,000 product or something like that. It still can, But you know, you want to tweak it up a little bit and not necessarily highlight that it's a tiny investment if it's not. But the structure, the gain, logic, fear, that works at all levels. It works for everything. It works at all levels. You're going to see this deployed really in its kind of ultimate state when we get into the closing series and bonuses added and some of the other campaigns that are in this particular module. But this is a great one. It's universal and it just flat out works. So if you're looking for one go-to one to kick off your engagement series, to be that starting point, this is it. Following up, if you want to do some stacking, following up a gain, logic, fear, maybe you take a couple of days off and you go to a newsjacker or a tubejacker. You could even stack a faux survey on top of it. You could do a are you still or have you yet type campaign. It works really great in the beginning, or it can work really great on the end of a mini class launch or a webinar show up series or something like that. So keep that in mind as you're building your engagement series.